Hello hatchlings and welcome to Stephano Reads. We're back in the Minecraft minigame to where we're going to read Finding Nemo. We're almost halfway through the book already, so I'm hoping we can maybe get through the whole entire thing this episode, or if not, we'll make it in another episode. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Chapter 8. The dentist's office was closed for the night, the tank was dark, and Nemo slept soundly in the tiki hut. Jacques approached Nemo quietly and said, "Psst, Nemo." Nemo didn't stir, so Jacques threw a small pebble at him. Still no response from Nemo. Jacques threw another pebble at him, but the little fish slept on, in frustration. Jacques threw a whole bunch of pebbles. Nemo woke with a start. "Follow me," Jacques told the new fish. He led Nemo to the center of the tank, which was lit up by the red gleam of the fake lava flow. Nemo heard a strange, low chanting, then saw something moving behind the tiki heads. Bubbles, gurgle, and bloat surfaced from behind the heads. Jacques and Nemo began the long climb up the face of the volcano. As he passed by Deb and Peach, Nemo was given a ceremonial whack with the kelp fronds they held. At the peak of the volcano, Nemo saw Gil floating silently. "State your name," Gil told Nemo. Nemo," the scared fish stammered. "Brother Bloat, proceed," said Gil. "Nemo, newcomer of orange and white," Bloat said solemnly. "You have been called forth to submit the Mount Wanalakahugi to join us in the fraternal bonds of tankhood." Nemo had no idea what Bloat was saying. "Huh?" he asked. "We want you in our club, kid," Peach said with a smile. "If you are able to swim through the ring of fire," Bloat said dramatically. Nemo looked around confused. Bloat gave Jacques a stern look and whispered to him, "Turn on the ring of fire." At the moment, the wall of bubbles rose out of the volcano. Gil motioned to Nemo to swim through the bubbles to him. Nemo took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He hesitated, then swam with all his might. He swam through the ring of fire, bumping right into Gil. Gil gave Nemo a big smile and lifted him over his head. "From this moment on, you will be known as Shark Bait," he said. "Shark Bait, hoo-hoo-ha." "Okay," Gil added to the rest of the tank gang. "Shark Bait is one of us, agreed?" The whole tank agreed. "And we can't send him off to his death. Darla's coming in 5 days," Gil said. "So we're gonna get him out of here. We're gonna help him escape." "Escape?" Nemo squeaked. "Really?" "We're all gonna escape," Gil said. All the fish laughed. "Not another one of your escape plans," Gurgle said. "Sorry, but they just never work," Deb said sadly. "Yeah," Bloat added. "Why should this be any different?" Gil turned serious and pointed to Nemo. "'Cause we've got him." Nemo gulped. "Me?" he asked. Gil put his fin around Nemo. "You see that filter? You're the only one small enough to get in and out of that thing," Gil said. Nemo started to feel the pressure. "What we need you to do, Gil said, is take a pebble inside there and jam the gears. You do that, and this tank's gonna get filthier and filthier by the minute. Pretty soon, the dentist will have to clean the tank himself. And when he does, he'll take us out of the tank, put us in individual bags, then we'll roll ourselves out the counter, out of the window, off the awning, into the bushes, across the street, and into the harbour." "Who's with me?" Gil asked, turning to the rest of the tank gang. Everyone raised a fin in agreement, except Gurgle. "I think you're nuts!" "No offense, kid, but you're not the best swimmer," he said. "He's fine. He can do this," Gil said. "So Sharkbait, what do you think?" Nemo looked around at all of his friends he'd made. Then he thought about seeing his father again. "Let's do it," he said with a smile. Chapter 9. Marlin had the address from the mask, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. If there was a Wallaby Way, where was Sydney? He had to ask for directions. A school of silvery moonfish swirled past. Maybe they knew. Excuse me, Marlin said, as they rushed by. Hello? The moonfish darted this way and that, constantly moving. Hey, hold it, Marlin shouted. Wait a minute, I'm trying to talk to you. Again they hurried by. One quick question, Marlin pleaded. Please? And they're gone again. Just then, Dory swam closer by. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, she recited. She'd been repeating the address ever since she remembered it. 42 Wallaby Way. It was driving Marlin crazy. Okay, alright. Here's the thing, he told her. I think it's best if I just carry on from here by myself. Dory paused, not understanding. Huh? This was so hard to say. Marlin tried again. I don't want to hurt your feelings. You don't want me to leave? You want me to leave? Dory asked in disbelief. Well, I mean, not... Yes, it's just, I can't afford any more delays, and you're one of those fish that causes delays. Dory's eyes opened wide. You mean, you don't like me? No, of course I like you, Marlin explained. Oh, don't cry, I like you. All of a sudden, a group of moonfish stopped in front of them. Hey, you, one said to Marlin. They all hovered there, staring at Marlin. Lady, said the moonfish, is this guy bothering you? I don't remember, Dory sniffed. Then she turned to Marlin. Were you? Hey, Marlin said suddenly. He finally had their attention. Do you guys know how I can get to P. Sherman? Look, pal, we're talking to the lady, not you. The fish smiled at Dory, trying to cheer her up. You like impressions? Okay. The fish turned to the others. Just like rehearsal, gentlemen. The moonfish swam into different positions, forming the shape of a swordfish. So what are we? Take a guess, they asked. Dory perked up. Oh, I've seen one of those, she said. I'm a fish with a nose like a sword, one of the moonfish said, giving her a hint. Wait, Dory said. It's a swordfish, Marlin jumped in. Hey, clown boy, let the lady guess. Another fish scolded Marlin. The moonfish did more impressions. They changed into a lobster, an octopus, a ship, but Dory didn't get a single one. Would somebody please give me directions? Marlin shouted angrily. The moonfish switched places again. This time they looked like a clownfish, an angry clownfish, just like Marlin. Finally, Dory laughed. This is unless Marlin thought. He swam off. Hey, come back! Dory followed him. What's the matter? Marlin turned to her. What's the matter? While they're doing their silly little impressions, I'm miles from home with a fish that can't even remember her own name, he sighed. Meanwhile, my son is out there, and it doesn't matter, because no fish in this entire ocean is going to help me. Well, I'm helping you, Dory told him. Wait right here. She hurried back to the school of fish. Guys, any of you heard of P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney? She asked. Sydney? Oh, sure, said one of the fish. You wouldn't know how to get there, would you? Asked Dory. What you want to do is follow the EAC, that's East Australian Current, the fish explained. The moonfishes sifted places so they looked like wavy lines in the water, just like the Eastern Australian Current. Big current, can't miss it. They turned into an arrow, it's that direction, and then you're gonna follow that for about 3 leagues, and that little baby is gonna float you right past Sydney. Great! Marlin swam over. That's great! Dory, you did it! Oh, please, I'm just your little helper. Helping along, Dory said cheerfully. Well, listen, fellas, thank you, Marlin called to the moonfish. Don't mention it. Just loosen up, okay, buddy? They replied. Bye, Dory said as she and Marlin left. Oh, hey, miss, said the fish. One more thing. Dory turned and swam back to the moonfish. Yes? When you come to this trench, the fish formed a picture of a long, narrow ditch with very steep sides. Swim through it, not over it. Trench, Dory repeated. Through it, not over it. Through it and not over it. Trench, Dory repeated. Through it, not over it. I'll remember. Then she turned up to catch up with Marlin, who was already on his way. Alright, we've reached a bunch of pictures, so I believe we are halfway through the book now, because we are up to chapter 10. I've had to skip a load of pictures, but now we're halfway. Chapter 10. A little while later, Marlin was swimming along to the ocean floor. Dory trailed close behind. All at once, Marlin stopped short. They were at the edge of a long, dark, spooky-looking trench. Okay, let's don't go, Dory replied. Bad trench. Come on, he told Dory. We're gonna swim over this thing. Dory shook her head. Whoa, partner. Little red flag going up. Something's telling me we should swim through it, not over it. Marlin's jaw dropped. Are you even looking at this thing? It's got death written all over it. I'm sorry, but I really think we should swim through. Come on, trust me on this. Trust you? Marlin asked. Yes, trust. It's what friends do, Dory said. Look, Marlin said, trying to distract Dory. Something shiny. Where? Said Dory. Oh wait, it swam over the trench. Come on, follow it. Marlin said, okay. Dory happily agreed, forgetting about the Moonfish's warning. The two fish swam over the trench to clear blue water. In the distance, they could see fast-moving East Australian current. We should be there in no time, said Marlin. Dory wasn't listening. She was staring at a tiny jellyfish floating just in front of her. She moved closer. Hey, little guy. You wanted to go through the trench, Marlin said with a laugh. Dory reached for the jellyfish. I shall call him Squishy, and he shall be my Squishy. Come here, little Squishy. But as Dory tried to touch the jellyfish, it stung her. Ow! She shouted. Dory, Marlin gasped. That's a jellyfish! Bad Squishy, Dory said, as Marlin pushed the jellyfish away from her. Shoo, get away, he said. Then he turned to Dory. Come here. Let me see that. Marlin held Dory's fin to examine the sting. Neither of them noticed more and more jellyfish swimming closer. The jellyfish were floating down from above. Hey, how come it didn't sting you? Dory asked. It did, Marlin answered. It's just I'm living in an anemone and I'm used to these kind of things. It doesn't look too bad, he told Dory. You're gonna be fine. But now we know, don't we, that we don't want to touch these again. Let's be thankful this time it was just a little one. As they turned to go, hundreds of jellyfish blocked their path. Marlin couldn't believe his eyes. This was seriously dangerous. Don't move, he ordered. More and more jellyfish were coming. There were jellyfish as far as he could see. This is bad, Dory. Marlin looked around. Dory was bouncing on top of a large jellyfish like it was a trampoline. Hey, watch this! Boing, boing, she laughed. You can't catch me, she called to Marlin. Oh no, Marlin thought. She thinks this is fun. He reached for her, but she bounced into another jellyfish. Marlin closed his eyes, not wanting to see his friend get hurt again. But Dory didn't scream. Marlin opened his eyes and saw her happily bouncing along. Then he remembered that the tops of jellyfish don't sting. All right, listen to me, he said to Dory. I have an idea. A game. I love games, Dory cried. All right, here's the game. Whoever can hop the fastest out of these jellyfish wins, Marlin said. Okay, Dory explained. Rules. You can't touch the tentacle. Only the tops, Marlin ordered. Something about tentacles. Got it, Dory said. On your marks, get set, go. Dory took off jumping. Marlin followed behind. Now be careful, he told himself. Whee! Dory giggled, leaping from one jellyfish to the next. Marlin moved faster, trying to keep up. Boing. This was kind of fun. He was actually having a good time. Dory, are you hungry? Marlin asked. Huh? Hungry? Dory said. Yeah, because you're about to eat my bubbles, Marlin cried. Then he bounded out of the jellyfish forest, filling the pool of the East Australian current nearby. The clownfish is the winner, he shouted to Dory. We did it! But Dory wasn't there. Oh no, Marlin groaned. He darted back to find her. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Dory, he called, peering through the jellyfish. Then he spotted her, wrapped up tight in a jellyfish tentacles. Without even thinking, Marlin pushed through the other jellyfish. He shot straight through the forest of giant tentacles and grabbed Dory. Marlin was a fish on a mission to save Dory. Am I disqualified? She asked, barely able to speak. You're actually winning, but you've got to stay awake, Marlin said. Marlin held Dory with one fin. He paddled with the other. The water was thick with jellyfish. He could see one small patch of blue ahead. He had to reach it. Barreling through the jellyfish, he shielded Dory with his body. As he went, he was stung again and again. With each new sting, he slowed down. He grew weaker. Stay awake, he kept saying to Dorian and to himself. Stay. With his last bit of strength, he pushed past a huge jellyfish. Awake! He floated into the safety of the clear open water. Weary, He saw something up ahead, something big and green, moving very slowly, and then everything went black. Chapter 11. Back in the fish tank, Nemo had been swimming every day with Gil, learning how to use his small and injured fin. Alright, he was swimming faster, more smoothly. Nemo knew he didn't have much time, only 2 more days. Then Darla would come to take him away. As Nemo swam past, Gil noticed Nemo's eyes on his withered fin. My first escape, said Gil grimly, landed on dental tools. I was aiming for the toilet. The toilet? Nemo asked. All drains lead to the ocean, kid, Gil replied. Nemo thought for a minute and then looked at Gil seriously. He knew he had to do everything he could to help them all escape. It was finally time for the next step in the plan, jamming the filter so that the tank would get dirty. The fish gathered by the bubbling filter. Now once you get in, you swim down to the bottom of the chamber and I'll talk you through the rest, Gil said to Nemo. It was up to the little fish to stop the machine. Nemo held his breath, poked his head through the surface, and saw the water wheel. Then he leaped into the air and onto the wheel. He flapped as the wheel spun, then flipped himself through the gap. He landed in the bottom of the filter. He was inside! Gil was right outside the filter. He scooped up the pebble from the bottom of the tank and threw it to Nemo. Do you see a small opening? Gil asked. Nemo nodded. Inside it, you'll see a rotating rod. Wedge that pebble up against the rod to stop it turning. Careful, shark bait. Nemo followed Gil's instructions. After one failed attempt, the whirring noise stopped. The filter was jammed. That's great, kid, Gil said. Now go up the tube and out. Nemo grinned. He began to swim out of the filter, but the pebble slipped out of place. Whoa! The filter started working again. The giant blade jerked, then turned. It was pulling Nemo back to the filter. In seconds, he'd be sucked inside towards the rotating blade. Gil! Help me! Cried Nemo. Gil raced over to a plastic plant. Stay calm, kid. Don't panic. Together, the tank gang yanked on the plant. They managed to pull off a branch and shove it in the filter tube. Grab hold of this, Gil called to Nemo. Nemo extended his fins closer and closer. He had it, but he was still about to fall into the sharp spinning blade. Gil and the others held onto the branch and pulled hard. Nemo was suddenly free. He was outside the filter safe, but shaken up pretty badly. The little fish began to cry. Gil, don't make him go back in there, Peach said. No, we're done, Gil said, unable to look at any of the other fish in the eye. Chapter 12. Back in the ocean, Marlin rubbed his head. He felt a bit funny, like he'd been sleeping too long. Then he remembered the jellyfish. He had been sleeping, recovering from the poisonous jellyfish stings. He blinked, trying to focus. 2 giant eyes stared at him, and he was moving. He was riding on the back of a sea turtle. Marlin gazed around. Hundreds of sea turtles were swimming all around him. Dude, said the sea turtle. We saw the whole thing. You got some serious thrill issues, dude. Awesome. So, Mr. Turtle, Marlin said. Whoa, dude. Mr. Turtle is my father. Name is Crush. Crush? Really? Marlin said. Listen, I need to get to the East Australian current. You're riding on it, Crush told him. Check it out. Now that Marlin was looking around, he noticed that the sea turtles were surfing an endless ribbon of green sea. They weaved through the ocean, riding the current. Suddenly the current dipped, then rose. Marlin gripped Crush's shell tightly. So, what brings you on this fine day to the EAC? Asked Crush. Well, Dory and I need to get to Sydney. Dory! Is she alright? Crush pointed below to another line of swimming turtles. Marlin spied a blue speck lying on a turtle's back. Dory! Marlin jumped off Crush's back and dived closer. He gasped. Dory was still... Oh, Dory, he cried, burying his head in his fins. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. All at once, Dory jumped up. 29, 30, she shouted. Ready or not, here I come. She swam off, peeking under the shells of some small turtles. Young turtles popped out their heads and giggles. Catch me if you can, Dory called, racing away. Marlin sighed. Dory was fine. The turtle kids formed a chain. They whipped around, and the last in line hurled off the current. Oh my goodness, Marlin cried. He rushed to help. But Crush appeared at his side and held him back. Kill the motor, dude. Let's see what Crush Jr. does flying solo. The turtle was his son, but Crush was so calm. They'd find their way back, Crush explained. But, dude, how do you know when they're ready? Marlin asked. You never really know. But when they know, you'll know, Crush said. The little turtle paddled back into the current, giggling. That was so cool! Then Crush turned to Marlin. Intro, Jellyman, offspring, Jellyman. Dory and all the other kids spotted Marlin. Go on, Dory nudged them. Jump on him. The kids tumbled close to Marlin. Did you really cross the jellyfish forest? One asked. Did they sting you? Asked another. Where are you going? Asked a third. Well, you see, my son was taken away from me, Marlin explained about Nemo and his search. The divers, the anglerfish, the sharks. The young turtles listened to his story, fascinated. Then they swam off and told the other turtles. A lobster overheard the story. Then he told another lobster, while a dolphin dived nearby listening too. That dolphin told another dolphin as they swam alongside the boat. A bird sat on the prow and heard the story too. He told another bird while flying past. Sydney Harbour, right near a flock of pelicans, which included Nigel. Nemo! Nigel exclaimed as soon as he heard the story of the brave clownfish. He took off, heading for the dentist's office. Chapter 13. Nigel landed in a flurry of feathers on the dentist's window. Where's Nemo? He shouted. Nemo swam to the side of the tank that faced the window. What is it? He asked. Your dad's been fighting the entire ocean looking for you, Nigel said, and told Nemo about his father's adventures. The other fish in the tank gathered around. They wanted to hear the fantastic story Nigel was telling. Nemo couldn't believe it. His dad hardly ever left the anemone. Shark bait. Your dad is Superfish, cried Bubbles. All the tank fish cheered. Then they turned to Nemo, but he wasn't there. Shark bait, called Gil. Suddenly he spied the little fish. He was inside the filter. Nemo grabbed a pebble in his fin. It was a bigger one than last time, and he was determined to do it right. This time, he would jam the filter. After all, his dad was Superfish, and if his dad could be a superfish, then Nemo was going to be one too. He struggled for a moment, then the pebble was in. The fan slowed, then stopped. All was quiet. You did it! The tankfish cried as Nemo floated beside them. Alright, gang, Gil said. We have less than 48 hours before Darla gets here. This tank will be plenty dirty in that time, but we have to help it along any way we can. Be as gross as possible. We're going to make this tank so filthy, the dentist will have to clean it. Meanwhile, Marlin and Dory were saying goodbye to Crush and the other turtles. Get ready, Crush told them. He twisted his head to look at the two fish riding his back. Your exit's coming up. Marlin squinted. Where? Dory pointed. I see it, right there, Marlin gulped. You mean that swirling vortex of terror? That's it, dude, Crush said. The eddy swirled around and around, little past the current. Okay, Jellyman, go, cried Crush. He swerved and Marlin and Dory tumbled from the shell into the eddy. They slipped down the giant side formed by the whirling current. Not far off, they could see Crush and the others riding the EAC. Hey, look, Dory cried. Turtles! Swim straight on through to Sydney. Swim straight on through to Sydney. Crush directed them as they slid. You tell your little dude I said hi. Wait, Marlin remembered. Nemo's question about sea turtles. Crush! How old are you? He shouted. 150, dude. And still young. Rock on! Crush called as he swept him off. Marlin and Dory turned away. Now they faced dark, murky water. We're going in there? Dory asked. Marlin nodded. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel nervous. We're just gonna swim straight, he said. Chapter 14. Hours passed. Marlin and Dory swam and swam. The water was still dim and cloudy. Nothing seemed to have changed. They felt like they'd been swimming forever. Wait, I've definitely seen this floating speck before, Marlin said suddenly, pointing to something in the water. That means we're going in circles, and that means we're not going straight. We've got to get to the surface. Follow me. Whoa, said Dory. Relax. Let's just ask somebody for direction. Marlin snorted. Fine. Who do you want to ask? The speck? There's nobody here. Well, there has to be someone. It's the ocean, silly. We're not the only two here, Dory said. She gazed into the darkness. The water was so foggy she couldn't see much farther than her nose. Just then a small shadow passed ahead of them. We don't know that fish, Marlin said. If we ask it for directions, it could ingest us and spit us out our bones. Come on, Dory said. Trust me on this. Marlin gazed at her jellyfish stings, the wound she'd gotten because he didn't trust her before. All right, he said. Dory smiled. Excuse me, little fella, she called out. Here's some bingo. Nemo, Marlin interrupted, a little shakily. As the small shape moved closer, it didn't seem to be so small anymore. Nemo is taken to Sydney, Dory continued, and it's really, really important we get there as fast as we can. So, can you help us out? Come on, little fella. Dory, I'm a little fella, Marlin said. I don't think that's a little fella. Suddenly the creature broke through a thick layer of murk. It was a giant blue whale. The whale silently steamed towards them. Oh, big fella. Maybe he only speaks whale. Dory tried again to explain her situation to the creature, this time talking well. Nemo was taken. What are you doing? Marlin asked nervously. Are you sure you speak whale? He peered at the humongous creature. He's swimming away. It's just as well. He might be hungry. Don't worry. Whales don't eat clownfish, Dory said calmly. They eat krill. Just then 100 tiny shrimp rushed past to escape the whale. Oh look, krill, said Dory. The whale opened its enormous mouth. Water flowed in, taking everyone with it. Marlin grabbed Dory. They turned tail and swam, but it was no use. The current was too strong. Marlin and Dory were swallowed up by the whale's vast mouth. It was very big. Was big, very big, and very dark, and it looked like there was no way out. Chapter 15. Meanwhile, the tank gang were busy in the dentist's office, admiring their dirty work. Would you look at that? Filthy. Absolutely filthy, Gil said. And it's all thanks to you, kid. You made it possible. The gang watched closely. When Dr. Sherman walked into the office, he strode across the room to the tank and struck his hand inside the murky water. Crikey! What a state, he cried. I better clean that fish tank before Darla gets here. The tank gang cheered. Tomorrow was the day. Tomorrow they would all escape. Are you ready to see your dad, kid? Gil asked Nemo. Nemo nodded. You know, Gil added, I wouldn't be surprised if he's out there in the harbour waiting for you right now. Inside the whale's mouth, Marlin and Dory heard creaks and moans that echoed all around. Marlin wasn't going to swim around being trapped. He had to get out. He started by throwing himself forward. Boom. He crashed against the curtain like baleen that hung from the whale's jaw, but it didn't budge. Marlin rammed the baleen again and again, but it was no use. Waves rose and fell inside the whale's mouth. Dory rode a swell, laughing like it was a ride. We're in a whale, Marlin shouted, starting to get angry. Don't you get it? A whale! Because you had to ask for help. And now we're stuck here. I have to get out, Marlin pounded the baleen. I have to find my son. I have to tell him how old sea turtles are. Exhausted, Marlin dropped into the whale's tongue. Suddenly the whale lurched to a stop. What's going on? Asked Marlin. Don't know, Dory replied. I'll ask him. Dory made some more strange sounds. The whale answered with a roar. I think he says we've stopped, Dory offered. Well, of course we've stopped, Marlin said, annoyed. Just then the water began to sink lower and lower. It was draining down the whale's throat. Any minute now, Marlin and Dory too would be forced down the stomach. The whale moaned. He says it's time to let go, Dory cried. Marlin peered down the long dark throat. Everything's gonna be alright, Dory said calmly. How do you know, Marlin asked. How do you know something bad isn't going to happen? I don't, Dory replied. What else could he do? Marlin took a deep breath, then let go. The two fish tumbled down, down, down. Suddenly they were swept up in a gush of water. In Sydney Harbour, the whale surfaced. Marlin and Dory shot out of the spout in a jet of water. They tumbled through the air in a spray and a mist of foam. Splash! They landed in the harbour water. We're alive! Marlin cried. Look! Dory pointed to a boat with the writing on the side. It says Sydney! You were right, Dory, Marlin exclaimed. We made it! We're gonna find my son! Marlin thanked the whale, then turned to Dory. Okay, all we have to do is find the boat, and that took him, he said. Right, Dory agreed. Marlin surfaced and gazed at the boats. There were hundreds of them, as far as he could see. But he'd made it this far, and nothing would stop him from finding Nemo. Marlin threw back his fins. Come on, Dory, we can do this. Chapter 16. It's morning, everyone. Peach was stretching her arms, the first one to awaken the tank. Today's the day. The sun is shining, the tank is clean, and we're gonna get out. Suddenly she gasped. The tank was clean. Moments later, everyone gathered at the filter. They stared up in horror. It was a new filter, a huge towering one, and it didn't have any moving parts they could break or put a pebble into. Boss, that must have been stolen it last night while we were sleeping, Gil said, shaking his head disappointed. The Aqua Scum 2003 is an all-purpose self-cleaning, maintenance-free saltwater purifier. Peach was reading a book that lay open in the counter. A red laser beam shot out from the filter, sweeping the water. Temperature 82 degrees, an automated voice reached. pH balance normal. The tank gang looked in amazement. They had realized what had happened. Curse you, Aqua Scum, cried Gurgle. That's it for our escape plan, Gloat cried, inflating in anger. It's ruined! What are we gonna do about... Nemo panicked. The door of the dentist's office swung open. Darla! Shouted the tank gang. Stay down, kid, Gil said sharply. A little boy entered the waiting room with his mother. False alarm, Gloat said. Nemo sighed with relief. But then before he could move, he felt a net fall around him. A fish net. He was lifted up, up, up. Gil! Help me! He shouted. Nemo! Gil shouted back. Quickly taking action, Gil swam as fast as he could over to Nemo and jumped into the net with him. With all his might, he started to swim down in an attempt to get the net away from the dentist. Come on, kid, Gil said to Nemo. Swim down! Swim down! The rest of the tank gang jumped into the net as well, and they all swam down as hard as they could. Just when Nemo thought he'd gotten free from the net, Dr. Sherman wrapped him inside a plastic bag filled with water. The dentist plopped Nemo onto a counter and walked away. The tank gang raced to the side of the glass. Roll, kid, everyone told him. Just roll, keep going, you can do it. Nemo twisted around. It was working. Slowly the bag was moving. The window, he saw it on the other side of the counter. If he could make it there, it would be one jump to the harbour below. Then Dr. Sherman grabbed the bag. Now that would be a nasty fall, he said, placing the bag on a tray. Suddenly the office door flew open. A table toppled and a lamp shattered. Darla had arrived. Chapter 17. Rows and rows of boats lined the harbour. Marlin and Dory swam from stern to stern, trying to find one that looked familiar. Dory yawned, exhausted. Her eyes fluttered, then closed. She began to sink, falling asleep. Dory, wake up! Marlin shouted. Dory opened her eyes. Then she screamed. A big pelican was swooping towards them. In a flash, he opened his beak and scooped up the two friends. At the pier, the pelican settled on the dock. He threw back his head to swallow Marlin and Dory. No! I didn't come this far to be breakfast! Marlin wedged himself sideways in the pelican's mouth. The pelican made a choking noise. The fish was stuck in his throat. Further down the dock, Nigel watched the choking pelican. He flew over to help. Fish got your tongue? He asked. The pelican opened his mouth. Nigel peered in and pounded at the pelican's back. The two fish flew into the dock. I've got to find my son Nemo, Marlin cried, gasping for air. Nigel's eyes opened wide. Here's that fish, Nigel yelled. The one that's been fighting the whole ocean. Marlin and Dory were flopping down on the dock, trying to get back into the water. I know where your son is, Nigel cried. A flock of curious seagulls suddenly appeared. The pelican opened his beak. Hop inside. My mouth if you want to live, he said. How does that make me live? Marlin asked, thinking Nigel wanted to eat him. Nigel shook his head. No, I know your son. He's orange, he's got a gimpy fin on one side. Marlin couldn't believe it. This pelican really knew his son. That's Nemo, he shouted. More seagulls swooped down on the dock, surrounding Marlin and Dory. Nigel dived into the midst of the birds. He snatched the fish from the dock and flew off. Nigel grabbed a mouthful of water from the ocean so that Marlin and Dory could breathe. They were on their way to the dentist's office. Chapter 18. Hello, Darla, the dentist said. How's my favourite little niece doing on her special day? He placed her in the dentist's chair. Let's see those pearly whites, he said, opening her mouth. Ouch! He cried as she bit his finger. Grumpy, are we? I know what you want. You want your present. I get a fishy, Darla shouted. Looking into the plastic bag, Dr. Sherman knew he didn't have good news for his niece. Oh no, poor little guy, he said to himself. Nemo was floating upside down in the bag. He's dead, the tank gang moaned from the aquarium. Must have left your present in the car, the dentist told Darla, trying to hide Nemo. I'll go and get it. As Dr. Sherman moved the bag behind his back, Nemo opened his eyes. He's still alive, the tank gang cheered. Why is he playing dead? A fish asked. The dentist headed towards the bathroom. He's gonna get flushed down the toilet, Gil said happily. He's gonna get out of here. But then the dentist edged over to the trash can. Not the trash can, the tank gang cried. Hey, Nigel, stuck his beak through the window. Hey, I found Superfish. Where's Nemo? Marlin called from inside Nigel's beak. Where is he? Dentist, dentist, the tank gang shouted. Nigel, Marlin ordered. Get in there. He grabbed Nigel's tongue and using it like a rubber-arm boat, he steered him inside. What the? Dr. Sherman said, surprised to see a pelican coming into his office. He lunged for Nigel, but they collided right over Darla, where she lay in a dentist's chair. The dentist dropped the bag into the dental tray. Pop! The bag sprang a slow leak, with Darla right above them. Nemo continued to play dead. Nigel and Marlin saw Nemo and the bag dead. Marlin froze in shock. Gotcha, Dr. Sherman explained. He held Nigel by the beak, keeping it tightly shut. From inside Nigel's mouth, Marlin yelled, Nemo! Nemo heard his father's voice. Daddy! He whispered. Marlin didn't hear. Nemo and the dentist shoved Nigel out of the window. Gil knew they had to do something fast. Nemo was running out of air. Quick, Gil shouted. To the top of Wanahakalugi. He motioned for the others to go into action. In the chair, Darla began to swing Nemo's bag back and forth. Fishy, fishy, she sang. Nemo was about to pour out through the widening hole in the bag in the tank. Float lifted the corner of the volcano, then inflated himself and nodded to Gil. He had the volcano positioned in just the right way to send Gil to Nemo's direction. Gil swam to the mouth of the volcano. Jacques turned on the air valve, and whoosh! Gil was launched into the air. He flew behind Dr. Sherman and landed right on Darla's head. Ah! Darla screamed. Nemo fell in a tray and landed on the dental mirror. Gil flipped off Darla's head onto the tray. Tell your dad I said hi, he said when he spotted Nemo. Gil smacked the mirror with his tail and sent Nemo sailing into the spit sink. Nemo slid down the drain. The dentist saw the little clownfish just as he was disappearing. What? He said. Then he picked Gil up off the tray and put him back into the tank. The gang cheered as Gil entered the aquarium. Is he going to be okay, Gil? Gurgle asked. Don't worry, Gil said. All drains lead to the ocean. Nemo tumbled through the drain pipes into the water treatment plant. He slipped around the corner and bends. Finally, there was murky light at the end of the tunnel. Nemo reached the end of the drain pipe on the harbour floor. Daddy! He cried. Chapter 19. High above the harbour, Nigel flew with Marlin and Dory. He landed on the dock and dropped Dory and Marlin into the water. I'm so sorry, Nigel said. Truly I am. Marlin gave him a small nod, then swam off with Dory. Dory, Marlin said. If it wasn't for you, I never would have even made it here. So, thank you. Marlin began to swim away. Hey, wait a minute. Where are you going? Dory asked. It's over, Dory. We were too late. Nemo's gone, and I'm going home now, Marlin said sadly. Shocked, Dory pleaded with him. No, you can't. I remember things better with you. Look, P-Shem reflected. Oh, it's there. I can feel it. I look at you and I'm home. Please, I don't want that to go away. I don't want to forget. I'm sorry, Dory, Marlin said, but I want to forget. Once again, Marlin swam away and left Dory all alone. Back at the treatment plant, 2 crabs were snatching bits of food from jets of the water streaming from the holes in the pipe. The crabs stopped short when Marlin appeared in the distance. They called out to Marlin, Hey! Hey! Marlin paid no attention to them and continued to swim towards the ocean. Yeah, that's it, fella. Just keep on swimming, one crab said. You got that? Too right, mate, the other crab agreed. Just then, Nemo popped up from the hole between the 2 crabs. Hey! Have you seen my dad? Nemo asked. The crab snapped at Nemo. Gotcha, one of the crabs said to Nemo. No, 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 cried Nemo as he swam away in the direction of the harbour. Chapter 20. Nemo swam aimlessly through the water, calling for his dad. Suddenly he heard crying and went to find its source. He found a fish swimming around in circles, mumbling to herself. Excuse me, Nemo said to the fish. Are you alright? I don't know where I am. I think I'm lost. Somebody. But I can't remember, she said. It's okay, Nemo said, gently taking the fish's fin. I'm looking for someone too. I'm Dory, Dory said, sniffing. I'm Nemo, Nemo said. Nemo, Dory said. That's a nice name. Together, Nemo and Dory began searching. Dad! Dad! Nemo called out. Wait a minute, Dory said. Is it your dad or my dad? My dad, replied Nemo. Got it, said Dory. Where are we anyway? Asked Nemo. Said Dory. She swam over to a sewage pipe and read the logo. Sydney, she read. Suddenly it all came back to her. Every bit of her journey with Marlin and why they had travelled all the way to Sydney. Nemo, she exclaimed, remembering. What? Nemo asked, startled. It's you! You're Nemo, Dory cried. She held his face tightly in her fins. You were dead, I saw you. And then here you are, I found you. You're not dead, your father. You know my father? Nemo asked excitedly. Dory didn't answer. She was too busy thinking. Marlin must be by the crabs, she realized. She headed back towards them. Nemo swam right by her. In the fishing grounds, Marlin was swimming around aimlessly, sadly thinking about never seeing his son again. Get out of the way, yelled a grouper from above. A giant net was dropping down slowly into the ocean. Look out, called another fish. It's right behind us. The groupers raced past Marlin. Dad! Dad! Nemo shouted. Nemo? Marlin said, peering through the murky water. Daddy! Called a voice in the distance. Marlin squinted. He could just make out Nemo and Dory swimming towards him. He raced to meet them. Look out, Dory said. Dory and Nemo screamed. The net dropped lower, sweeping up fish after fish above the crank on a fishing boat. Turned, pulling the net towards the surface. But it missed a small swarm of the fish, including Marlin. Nemo, no! Marlin cried. But the net had also missed Nemo. Dad, he yelled. They were safe. Nemo, thank goodness, Marlin exclaimed, hugging his son. Then they heard a cry for help from the net. It was Dory. She was caught in the net and it was moving towards the surface. Nemo looked up at the net and remembered his adventure in the fish tank. Dad, I know what I need to do, he said as he swam towards the net. Marlin chased after his son, but Nemo had swum between the strands of the net and Marlin was too big to get through. Get out of there! I'm not going to lose you again, Marlin pleaded. We have to tell the fish to swim down together. I know this will work, Nemo insisted. Dad, I can do this. Marlin realized he needed a little trust and faith in his son. He locked eyes with Nemo. You're right. I know you can. They gave each other a high five. Remember, tell all the fish to swim down, Nemo yelled as he headed towards Dory. Well, you heard my son, shouted Marlin. Come on, swim down. One by one, the groupers stopped to listen. They told other groupers, and soon all the fish in the net began to swim down. But the net kept rising. Nemo and Dory were pulled out of the water. They gasped for breath. Swim down, Marlin shouted this time, with more urgency. The net slowed. For a moment it stayed in place, then it began to sink. It's working, Nemo yelled. The weight of all the fish swimming down was pulling the net back into the water. Nemo and Dory pushed their way to the front where they could see Marlin. You're doing great, son, Marlin called. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. Marlin and Dory shouted together. The fish gave one giant heave as they neared the ocean floor. Crack! The crack broke. The net sank. Fish poured out, laughing, crying, swimming away as fast as they could. Marlin swam in the opposite direction from the retreating fish. Where's Nemo? He asked Dory. Chapter 21. Marlin and Dory swam around, searching for Nemo. Finally, Dory cried, There! Nemo lay buried under the tangled fishing net on the floor of the ocean. Nemo! Marlin gasped as they pushed the heavy net off his son. Marlin thought of that horrible day years ago when they came back to the grotto and discovered the only one fish egg left, when he promised he would never let anything happen to his child. His Nemo. Nemo, he pleaded. Nemo. Suddenly Nemo coughed. Daddy? Thank goodness, Marlin sighed with relief. Nemo was alive. Dad, I'm sorry. I don't hate you, Nemo said. No, I'm sorry, Nemo, Marlin replied. Nemo touched Marlin with his lucky fin, and father and son smiled at what they had accomplished. Hey, Marlin said, guess what? Sea turtles, I met one, and they live to be 150 years old. 150? Nemo replied. Because Sandy Plankton said they only live to be 100. Sandy Plankton? Do you think I would cross the entire ocean and not know as much as Sandy Plankton? Marlin said. Nemo giggled. Then they looked at each other and laughed out loud. They had both been through great adventures and faced many dangers, but it had been worth it. Now they were together again. The morning sun rose over the anemone. It was time for school again. Marlin raced Nemo to school. All the kids were there. Started to climb on Mr. A. Come aboard, explorers, Mr. A exclaimed. While Nemo boarded Mr. A, Marlin was telling jokes to the other parents. They all laughed at Marlin's jokes. Sheldon's dad said, but seriously, Marty, did you really do all the things you say you did? Just then, 3 fish sharks, Bruce, Anchor, and Chum swam by. The fish backed away, frightened. Don't be alarmed, said Bruce. We just wanted to make sure our newest member got home safely. Thanks, guys, Dory swam out from behind the sharks. Well, we'll see you next week, Bruce called to Dory. Then he and the other sharks swam away. Hold on. Here we go, Mr. A yelled as he started to leave. Bye, son. Have fun, Marlin called. Bye, Dad, Nemo cried. Oh wait, I forgot something. Mr. A stopped. Nemo raced over to his dad and gave him a big hug. Love you, Dad, he said. I love you too, son, Marlin replied. Nemo swam back to Mr. A and the class left. Goodbye, all the kids yelled. Bye, Elmo, called Dory, forgetful as ever. Nemo, Marlin said. See you after school, Dory. Bye, Dad, Nemo shouted. Bye, son, Marlin said. He smiled. Everything was as it should be in the big blue. And that was the end of the novel of Finding Nemo. I had a feeling I'd probably finish it in this episode, as I made these a lot longer than normal. But I do hope that you have been enjoying this kind of, I wouldn't really call it Let's Plays, but where I'm reading and you're getting to watch a video, or you can listen to it in the background. It doesn't matter. But I really do hope that you are enjoying everything. And that you enjoyed the book, and maybe it's something that you can read of a night time. Who knows? I'm sure at this point everybody's probably seen the movie and everything else like that, but I thought it'd be fun to just kind of revisit the book, seeing as not too long ago they finally did the Finding Dory, I guess kind of sequel to that whole thing. So, I really do hope you enjoyed. If you did, I want you to waddle over to that like button and slap the subscribe to become a hatchling. and I will definitely be seeing you all in a wingspan. Bye bye! Wank.